The restaurant shimmered under golden chandeliers, wrapped in the quiet hum of wealth and power. Every table wore silk-white linens. Every chair held someone who belonged to a world built on influence and inherited luxury. And right in the middle of all this glitter sat a young woman in a worn sweater, clutching a small purse like it held her entire world. Her name was Leia, the daughter of a maid. She had worked for weeks just to afford this one night, a $4 blind date in a place where even a glass of water cost more than she earned in a shift. Her hands trembled as she checked her phone again and again, hoping her smile hid the fear swirling inside her. If you believe in kindness, hope, and stories that lift the heart, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Your support helps us bring more stories that remind the world that goodness still exists. Leia had grown up watching her mother scrub floors, polish marble halls, and wash dishes for the wealthy families of Crestwood Heights. She had watched women step out of mansions wearing perfumes that cost more than her mother made in a year. But her mother never once complained. She always said the same thing: never be ashamed of where you come from. Be ashamed only if you stop trying. Those words carried Leia through rejection, judgment, and the endless cycle of struggle. So when a coworker at the cafe set her up on a blind date, she hesitated. But deep down, she wanted what everyone wants: a moment to feel normal, to laugh, to belong. She wore the nicest outfit she could piece together: a borrowed black sweater, thrifted shoes, and a red scarf her mother ironed with pride. But the moment she stepped into the glittering restaurant, she felt painfully out of place. Her date still hadn't shown up, and the weight of judgment pressed down on her from every polished face and every fake smile. She sipped her water slowly, each tiny sip buying her a little more time before she'd have to order something she couldn't afford. Inside her purse lay exactly $4.27, all she had. At the next table, Adrian Vale sat watching. The only son of a powerful billionaire family, he was used to lies, rehearsed charm, and people pretending for the sake of his last name. But his attention wasn't on his business meeting tonight. It was on the lonely girl sitting by the window, twisting her napkin, eyes flicking to the door with a hope that was slowly breaking. There was something honest about her, something that didn't belong in that world of polished perfection. By minutes stretched into an hour, the soft noise of the restaurant faded as Leia finally understood. She had been stood up. Her date wasn't coming. Her chest tightened, tears threatening to spill. She didn't want to cry in front of these people, not where she already felt invisible. She called for the bill, wanting to leave before anyone noticed her humiliation, but someone had noticed. Adrien quietly asked the waiter to bring her check to his table. When Leia reached for her tiny purse, the waiter leaned in and whispered, "It's already taken care of." Confused, she looked around and met Adrian's eyes. He didn't smile out of pity. He simply nodded with a gentle warmth that said, "You deserve better than this." Her cheeks burned with a mix of gratitude and embarrassment. She mouthed a small thank you and rushed outside before her tears could fall. The cold air hit her face, and she felt both broken and strangely uplifted. She didn't know who that man was, and she didn't expect to ever see him again. But Adrian couldn't stop thinking about her. Her loneliness had mirrored something inside him. Despite his wealth, he lived surrounded by people who wanted his money or his connections, never him. The next morning, he asked around. Within a day, he discovered that the young woman he'd seen was the maid's daughter, working at his family's estate, the same place where Rosa, her mother, had served his family for years. When he visited the estate the following weekend, he saw Leia again, sweeping the marble steps beside her mother. She kept her eyes low, moving quietly like someone who didn't want to be noticed. Adrien hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward. He thanked Rosa for her years of loyalty, then turned to Leia with a soft voice. "You have a kind heart. Don't hide it." Leia froze, unsure how someone like him could speak so gently to someone like her. Weeks passed. Adrian began visiting the cafe where she worked. He'd order a simple coffee, sit in the corner, and watch her handle even the rudest customers with grace. Eventually, they began talking. First, awkwardly, then easily. She learned he wasn't arrogant or spoiled. He learned she wasn't looking for pity, only a chance, so he offered her one. Adrien helped her apply for a rarely advertised scholarship from his family foundation. Leia doubted herself, but he insisted that ability deserved opportunity, not just privilege. Months later, a letter arrived that changed her life. She had won a full scholarship to study business and management. She and her mother cried together, tears of pride, disbelief, and hope. Word spread quickly through the Vale household. The maid's daughter had earned something extraordinary. Some whispered that Adrian was foolish, that his kindness was misplaced. But Adrian didn't care. He saw in Leia something the world often overlooked, a dignity no amount of wealth could imitate. Years later, Leia graduated at the top of her class. She didn't just rise, she reached back to lift others. She founded an organization to support underprivileged women with education and job training. She named it the Second Chance Project. Inspired by the moment one stranger's kindness changed her entire path, At the launch event, Adrian stood in the front row, not as a billionaire's son, but as someone proud of the woman he once helped believe in herself. Because sometimes, kindness doesn't roar. Sometimes, it whispers, softly, quietly, powerfully. And that whisper can change someone's world forever. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Tell us in the comments what act of kindness has stayed with you.